So with RADs, typically what happens is the violence is a lot of times directed to the mom. In our case, our son directed the violence to both. However, it was more with me. So at second grade, I decided I was not going to be working anymore and I was going to be at home, being a homeschooling mom. Because at that point, we were still thinking, okay, we can work through this. It's going to be okay. Maybe if, mom is home with him and is giving him direction, because he would, at that point, he would get violent to get out of situations. So it seemed like if we homeschooled, we could come back around and say, no, violence isn't going to get you out of math. We're going to come right back to math again, whatever the case may be. But then with that, the violence just started at that point to start wrapping up. Would start increasing. He would start destroying his room. At one point, we had everything out of his room. He was happy with just a mattress sitting in his room, and he could occupy himself for hours in that room. And then bottles started getting thrown at me when he would get violent. He would pick up, anything that he could use as a throwing object for violence towards me, he did. He was hitting, he was kicking. There would be many times I would have him in what we call the hugging hold until the police would get there while I called 911. And sometimes, I would hold him for half an hour to 45 minutes thinking he's going to calm down, and he wouldn't. And then we'd call the police. So for me, I've had bite marks, bruises. Our house has holes in the walls. Things have been destroyed. And we pretty much just kind of secluded ourselves from our family and our friends. I mean, I would say we talked to our family somewhat about it, but I don't think everybody really knew the severity of it, because what happens is when you do go out with him, typically in front of other people, he's just fine. He's loving, he's caring, he's laughing, he's giggling, he's the best son that he can be, and gives us appearance of, what do you mean? I don't do those things. But at home, that wasn't the case. And life became very secluded.
And you get questioned a lot, and you question yourself a lot. It's like, clearly there must be something wrong with your parenting skills. Or I think it's when he would get more violent with her than with me, you question everything. And it's like, is there something that I'm doing slightly different? Is there something I'm phrasing different? Is there an attitude or a body language that's different? And you really start to question, and I think that's hard. But then I think for a kid with RADs, that's that then starts working to their benefit, because then they start, if they see debate, they start dividing and conquering, right? And that can be really challenging, I think. So I think that's, when the violence comes out more towards the mom, it just causes you to question everything. And that's hard.